to the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips on YikesRadio.com and AcceleratedRadio.net. Here on the Poetry of Justice show, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying, ah, my goodness gracious. Yikes! Those are the sultry sounds of my mentor, ladies and gentlemen, the Mr. Kevin Nash. And Mr. Nash is the owner of this proprietorship here at Accelerated Radio. And so I always give Mr. Nash a shout out because were it not for his dreams and ambitions, it would be impossible for me to do what I so love to do here on YikesRadio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, and then I want to give a very special shout out to my adoring sister, and she is the benefactor of the show, Miss Lori G. She's in the house tonight of Gingy Productions and Entertainment Company. How are you tonight, Lori G?
I am doing well, trying to get our Facebook live stream going on here.
It's going to be all right because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We have more sponsorships of the show. We want to give a shout out to G Babies Catering, ladies and gentlemen. G Babies Catering LLC. I want you to check him out, Chef Mac. The best way right now to get in touch with Chef Mac is to look at him up on Instagram. And again, that's GBABBIES. LLC Catering, ladies and gentlemen. And then as we move on down the line, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Floss the Boss? I want to give a very special shout out to the man of steel known as WMPJ Steelworks, Mr. William Miles Phillips Jr., ladies and gentlemen. We want to just give him a shout out because we just love what he does and help us out here on the Poetry of Justice show. And one of his most recent ventures that he's working on right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is APS Muscle Cars, ladies and gentlemen. We got vehicle restoration. We got customizations. You want to check this guy out? You can check him out on Instagram, APS Muscle Cars. You can also check him out on Google this dude, Jays. I'm telling you, APS Muscle Cars, Memo, MEMO. This is the dude you want to talk to, ladies and gentlemen. And so here we are, another Saturday night. I think we have ascended now, right, Rashid? We're getting ready to float on into the show here, ladies and gentlemen, on the Poetry of Justice show. Lori G, how are you tonight, pretty lady?
I am doing well, and how are you, Sissy?
Doing good, Issy. It's so good to see your face. I know, right? I think we just very special shout out, and I'm gonna just do this, and then I'm gonna back up and let the ladies do their thing because it's the beautiful ladies of the chat tonight. But I just want to say, guys, I'm feeling like for the time being that we have him, we're gonna have to spoil Stephen, ladies and gentlemen, because he's our on the jet on the new side of it. Because Rashid is always here working with us, so Rashid's like, this is work for me, right, Mr. Phillips. But yeah, anyway, on the panel tonight, so. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to do. How you doing, Miss Shelley C., Tanya Michelle, the adoring Miss Chris Fisher? Everybody cool and fan?
All is good in the neighborhood.
Doing wonderful.
How are you doing tonight, Rashid?
Hold on, like I'm just having some Del Taco. Hold on. I'm doing well today.
It's good, Rashid. Okay, Lord, did you have any housekeeping things that you want us to talk to us about tonight before we get deeper into what we're going to be talking about?
Well, I do. We have a little bit of a change of the format that the ladies and I discussed. We're going to have more of a variety show or more of segments. Like, when you watch Good Morning America, they don't talk about the same topic the whole show. So we're going to be doing a little change in here today. We're going to start off with some heavy stuff led by Miss Tanya Michelle. We're going to talk about capital punishment and ease on into some racial biases. And then we're going to do some updates on healthcare, looking at the vaccine for COVID, how that plays into minority communities, and a special surprise topic for Shelley C., which I saw on the news, was how HR law is going to collide with COVID and the vaccine. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, as well as there is tons of celebrity gossip, people, that we are going to look at. And then we have a very special Black History tribute for for our listeners and for our community. So very excited about that. But we want to kick things off, spending a little bit of time with Mr. Stephen here, who is joining us all the way from Tulsa. Yeah. And so Stephen's going to give us some input, but we're hoping, our last show last week, for those of you who joined us, you remember that Stephen talked about his poetry. And I invited him to come and share something with us tonight. And I just want to know if we can encourage him to do that. How you feeling, Stephen?
I'm feeling pretty good. This is my first time actually kind of reading poetry to like a crowd, I guess you can say. So, do what we do.
I think we're a pretty good crowd, ladies. What do you think? Are we loving and open and supportive to have him kick us off and try it out?
Are y'all ready?
We're ready, cousin.
You ready?
Okay. Well, I call this one What If? And here it go. If I was a president, I would free the lifers so that they can grow to be better citizens again. If I was a weather degree, I would be somewhere in the 80s when it's not hot or cold. If I was a vacation spot, it would be where the palm trees and the sand is at. Where the sand is in between her toes and the pina coladas are extra cold. When it comes to women, I have exquisite taste, but they all seem to have father issues. If anxiety was a drug, we would all die from an overdose. What if love was lust and lust was love? Majority of the population would be in love. What if there wasn't Crips and Bloods, then there would be no reason for black men to act tough. More daps and hugs, less hate and mean mugs. What if God didn't forgive, then hope would be far-fetched. If there was no gambling, then there would be no reason to say bet. What if cash didn't rule, then there would be no reason for men to flex. What if Jesus didn't fulfill his responsibilities, then who would God use next? So that's the end of that one. Are you guys open for another one?
Yeah. We love it, huh, Rashid?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you too. I want to talk about that lust versus love that got me. So I put that as a highlight. I got a highlight.
So many chat topics in that one little poem.
Right. Or Stephen, do you think we could maybe just take a couple moments and the ladies can ask you a few questions about what if?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Cousin Lorna Yes, I just wanted to give a shout out from Facebook World. We have cousin Lorna in the house. She says, you did that. You did that, nephew. She said, you did that. So we wanted to say, Lorna's in the house, Lori. So
hey, Lorna.
So everything is going good. She said, go, nephew. But anyway, okay, Shelly C, because I'm going to give it to you because I know I see your face on this one. So you go with your question.
I want to know what's the inspiration behind it. That's what I want to know.
A lot of times in my mind and just through conversation with people that I'm close to, we just often ask the alternative, like what if things was this way and what if it wasn't this way? And so I just kind of took a lot of things, when I spoke about lifers, there's a lot of people in life that made mistakes and it may have put them behind bars, but what if they had a second chance to learn from their mistakes and be better citizens again, and then just with the whole love and lust, this world is very lustful, there's not enough love. So what if it was the other way around, and so I like to just play with the alternative of what if,
What if? The opposite of what's really going on. That's
yes.
what they would say. Yes.
You said what if I don't remember exactly what you said, but you said what if something about a woman having her father. What was your line there?
Oh, I was just saying that I have exquisite taste in women. So I just love women, but I said most women tend to have father issues, and so it seemed like a lot of women that I have dated, they have father issues and that kind of affected our relationship,
That's a topic right there. That
definitely.
Yeah, that's a topic.
I'm gonna make a note of that one.
That's another show.
when you say father issues, what do you mean when you say that? When you were saying that, what type of issues are related to father issues?
In my opinion, I think it's just lack of trust. I think there's a difference when you see a woman raised having a father in her life. She's able to really discern what a true man is, and then there's a lot of women that doesn't have that. So when they have a good man in front of them, they don't really know how to take to that, and they take it as, oh, he's being too clingy or he cared too much, because they're used to men not really holding them down, is basically, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think that so we won't go into this, we can invite you back for the show.
Right.
I do think that your statement is very general. It's generalized, right? Because you're assuming that a father in someone's life always means positive.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily true. Men can be present but absent, right? They can be
Well,
there,
yeah, and I understand that too. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that's another show, because we can get all into that one. That's a whole 2 hours, but yeah.
Well, just kind of speaking on what you were saying, Tanya, like the last woman that I dated, her father was around, but it was kind of like they had a brother-sister relationship. And so she didn't really have respect for him. And so sometimes I feel like she kind of disrespected me sometimes. And I think that she, she, even though he was in her life, she just didn't have respect for him because of how he was as a man.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so whenever I try to take the lead, because I believe I should be able to take the lead, that's what the Bible kind of teaches. And she just didn't take to it well because father issues, daddy issues,
You taking
Do that make sense?
Absolutely, ladies. I think we have to kind of admit that happens. That's definitely out there.
Yep.
I think it's definitely a reality, but like you were saying, Tanya, there's always going to be exceptions. But yeah, I think we definitely need to do a show on daddy issues. And
I made a note.
Good topic.
But the part that really kind of froze me in my boots with what if was that part is like, what if Jesus hadn't died for us? Lord, my goodness, that's scary.
If he didn't fulfill his responsibilities, then who would God produce next to, and that's such a deep question, because Jesus did do everything right. But what if he didn't? Jesus still had the ability to sin against God, because Adam and Eve was perfect. I mean, the Bible refers to Jesus as the second Adam. So what if he made the same mistake as Adam and failed? Then who would God, put in the bloodline to fulfill?
Right. What if it's powerful? Definitely. Our Zoom room's got lots of comments for you. Stevie is with us tonight. We love Stevie. He's always rolling with us. Hey, Stevie, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate it. We also have Chris, our beautiful little mother-in-law, Jackie Fisher, in our Zoom room tonight. Hey, Nana.
Hi, Nana. Good to see you, Nana.
And Stevie says what he's getting from it is some women can't fully show up in a relationship because of unresolved issues with their father, regardless if they are present or not. And he said, yes, Jesus, one hit me too. Who would be next if it wasn't Jesus? So Stevie agrees with you there. That's going to be a good show, guys. I think so.
Yes, it is. Because I think it's the same for men and their moms. I think it's the same for men and their moms. The relationship, I look at that very closely. As you know, I'm single, but we'll talk about that later. But I look at that very closely. The relationship they have with their mother. If they have mommy issues, they're going to have an issue with you.
I agree.
Listen, that's the second show. The sequel is mommy issues.
We can mix it all together.
No, mommy and daddy issues.
Somebody said, yep. Who said yep?
Yes, easy.
Just call it parental issues.
I know.
Just call it parental
I'm just saying the part 1 and 2. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, Stevie, Stephen, I can't wait to hear the next one. What else you got coming for it?
Let me see. I was trying to kind of decipher which one I want to read next. Let's see. I'll read this one. I call this one I hate the world so much. It says, I hate the world so much. It causes much anxiety and pain. No love shown, so it make it tough to maintain. It has you ducking and dodging these problems. Shameful because God didn't intend for the world to be this way. COVID-19 got us with a mask on our face, looking like a robbery is taking place. Can't cough or sneeze without someone thinking you have the disease. And they say if we don't remain 6 feet away, we can end up 6 feet deep, and that's deep. Meaning we can't receive proper love like a dap and a hug. This is rough. Quarantining, thinking when I see my family and friends, I want to show them love. Social injustice is at a high. Police keep killing us for innocence and minor stuff. The world is supposed to be sweet, not tough. The world was made out of love, but thrives with hate nowadays. I still see you, God, in the darkest place. I see you in the biggest to the smallest trees, in the flowers that naturally bloom every spring season. And I know paradise isn't too far from us because where humans don't live, the earth is constantly living, constantly breathing, constantly healing. I see you, God. I'm trying my best to stay close to you, never too far. Constantly, constantly thinking how you will change my view of the world and transform it to love.
Wow.
All right. Hey.
I love
Big
that.
step.
I like Lori. Okay, the 6 feet, the 6 feet, 6 feet of separation, 6 feet. We got to be from each other, and if we don't, then we can be 6 feet deep, and that's deep.
That's very
That
deep.
just like really hit me. What do you think about that line, Tanya?
Yeah, that was, in the midst of everything that's going on with the pandemic, that line is pretty significant right about now. It's really true to the current affairs.
Um,
Yeah, I think your that was really true. That's why I laughed when you were speaking about anytime somebody coughs, you're looking like, oh, they must got something. And now
Yeah.
everybody's scared to cough because I see people and I'm like, you want to hold it in and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go in my own corner and you know. So
Cough or
that is
sneeze.
true. They
Yes.
do that, yes.
But your poem, Stevie, it reminded me a little bit about like Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. I'm sorry, I'm a Marvin Gaye fan, but
I
that's what
love
it
that
kind of
song.
reminds me of, like what's going on today and how we're feeling today and what's happening minute by minute. That's what it reminded me of. I just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like that song as well. I just wanted to know, the deepest line to me was social injustice is at a high. Police keep killing us for innocence and minor stuff. And that really dawned on me because I really thought about Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. And uh, Breonna Taylor was innocent. She was a hardworking woman and she died.
Mhm.
George Floyd, they say he was kind of doing something illegal, but it's nothing to die over. It was something minor, and he still died. So I think black people or people of color are the only people that's dying for innocence and minor stuff. We're not dying for blowing up buildings or shooting up a Walmart. We're dying for simple stuff. And to me, that was my favorite part, honestly.
I can
Absolutely.
understand that. That is very deep. I did jot that down too about the social injustices, but the state of affairs today, everybody. I think we're just blessed to have each other. And I just want to say again, thank you everybody for rolling with us tonight and allowing the opportunity to make change this Black History Month and sharing our voices and being a part of the community and spreading awareness and love and passion and educating each other. I think that's one of the best things that we can do, particularly to be Christ-like. So I thank you all so very much tonight. Lori G, what are you thinking, beautiful?
Yeah, I want to give a big thank you to Stephen for sharing his work, sharing his art. Your poetry is beautiful, definitely. And thank you for allowing us to be one of your very first in-person audiences. We
Hey,
definitely appreciate that. And
thank you
I'm going to
guys.
keep hitting you up and bugging you. I don't know if the ladies of the chat know, but we are planning to put together a poetry slam in May. And we're going to have our poets come out and our creativity. And Steve is going to be leading the line. Isn't that right, cousin? Yep.
I'll see what I can do.
Be leading the line. Yeah. I did. I was really moved when you talked about in your poem, you talked about no love shown, right? And I think that is so very true, guys. I've been watching the news the past couple days. Well, I watch the news intently all the time, but I've been really struck the last couple of days the increase of the violence against older Asian Americans. Have you guys seen that?
Yes, I have seen that they've been talking about it a lot on the news too.
Yeah. And I think, and it's all stemming from what you say in your poem, Stephen, that there's the fear of this virus and the resentment that our lives have changed. And there is so much pain and so much loss that people are attributing it to Asian Americans and attacking and brutally hurting them, which I saw one community though come together and they are doing vigils. They're doing watches outside the house of this Asian American family that has been terrorized by members of the community by breaking their windows and just ringing their doorbells and just wreaking havoc. So black, white, Hispanic, Latino, everyone in their community takes a time to sit in front of their home and to watch so that this family stays safe in these terrible times. So I think, as Shelley says, you got a little bit of Marvin Gaye side in you. You see, you can see, you got to tell it that the world is
What's going on?
yeah, what is going on in it. So thank you for that. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Stephen, ladies? Any other comments about his work, his art?
Just looking forward to hearing more.
Yeah.
Double check Facebook one more time and just see if we have anything else. But yeah, cousin just said that she just wanted to let you know that you did really great tonight. Thank you again,
Yes.
Stephen. Excellent day.
Excellent. Right. And so, Stephen, I hope you hang with us as long as you can. We understand you've got some other pressing things to do. But, I think this kind of backs us really into a part of what we were going to talk about in your poem, What If? You talk about lifers. What if they got a second chance, right? And a part of our discussion is looking at the idea of capital punishment and just the unbelievable number of people who were executed underneath the reign of President 45. So I think Tanya has some strong feelings about that. And we just wanted to kick that can around a little bit. And I think to start off our conversations, I'm interested in knowing, what are your thoughts about capital punishment? Yeah.
We
Whoever
going
wants to jump in.
anybody?
Yeah.
Anybody? I don't want to take anybody's space. Anybody else want to speak up?
I
Floor's
I
yours.
say this, just taking someone else's life for me is, I struggle with that. I think that everybody has their own extent of punishment they can give for anything they do, but to take someone's life in the manner they do it, I don't think that's should be our choice. Now, when you look at it, are there some people that you say, oh my God, that's what they deserve because that's one of the options? Maybe so, but overall, I'm completely against it.
What do you think about it, Rashi? How do you feel about the death penalty?
For me, I would say it depends on the extent of the crime, because I believe that those that actually violate children to a to an extreme extent deserve death penalty. They deserve no second chance because you violated a child. Like I'm saying with just adults in general. If you violate anybody, like no matter what age, I believe that you should not be here because your mental is just so far gone.
Right.
It's not worth it to me.
All righty. I get that. Shelly C., do you think you want to weigh in on the death penalty? Do you have any ideas on it right now?
Um, my only thing is, I just feel it's just a way to. I almost feel like it's a way to get rid of. I'm going deep. I think it's a way to get rid of the black race. That's what I really think.
Do we know, as far as the numbers of death penalty, the percentage was black and white?
I don't know the percentages, but from the research that I've done in the past, I can't tell you what it is presently, but I just feel like most of there's even been black kids in the past years back that have been, um, that have received the death penalty. And I just think that there have been more black people on death row that may have died than white but they're innocent. I guess I need to make sure I say that correctly. I think there's more innocent black people that are on death row or that are being put to death than white people who are innocent.
Okay. So I actually looked at the numbers.
Great. Tell us about it.
So we have 1,062. That'll be roughly 41.6% that are black. You have 343, roughly 13.44%. That'd be Latinx. You have 1,076, roughly 42.15% white. And then you got 72, which is roughly 2.81%, which is other. So white people got us by a fraction of a percent.
But
Wow.
It's by a fraction of a percent, but for people of color as a whole.
Yes.
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 45% white. It's the same numbers, I think. 42% black, 10 Latinx.
It's 42.15% white, 41.6% black, and 13.44% Latinx.
Could it be the serial killer situation for the higher number?
I'm not saying the number of people on death row. I'm saying the number of people that I believe are innocent.
Okay, as far as like the number that are innocent, that would be. Let me look into that.
Okay.
As far as like those that are actually,
because I believe there have just like there are. We can look at the number of people. Well, I don't think we can get the exact number, but if we look at the number of people that were innocent and had stayed in jail for years, you have more blacks that have than whites.
Well, I think definitely when you look just by sheer definition, there's a disproportionate number of African American men that are put into prison and that are sentenced to death, right? Which leads me back to the question for me about supporting the death penalty. Reminds me of a show we did, guys, on that idea of the absolute truth. Do you guys remember that show?
Yes, we remember that.
Yeah. So what is truth? Do we ever really get to that absolute truth of whether or not I committed a heinous crime, and is the justification of that crime
that part
death in every case, right? I think a part of, just in my opinion, a part of defending or discovering the truth is who creates the best narrative, right? And to create that narrative comes with the best litigators, which equates to financial ability, right?
Definitely.
And we oftentimes, as a race of people, don't have the socioeconomic ability to compete with some of the high-powered attorneys that are out there.
Yeah.
So I
Power. You guys saw Power when Tasha was gonna the public defender, and she was like, this public defendant didn't care anything about her, right? And she got this big name brand person, even though that was all corrupt too. But the public defendant is what most people, end up affording. So hopefully you'll get a good one of those. But if not, it's all about, like you said, Lori, who can create the best story. And the public is not the story for you all the time.
Okay, so I can't find a chart that actually splits off the innocence, but what I did find was that roughly 4.1% of people that are on death row actually are innocent. So it's roughly 4.1%. I can't get a breakdown of that percentage to where it says, what percentage of those were actually African American compared to white.
But if they're innocent, they're still on death row. We know that it's publicized that they're innocent. That's what I don't understand. So innocent by what they're saying at the end of the case, I remain innocent, or has their innocence been proven and they just
their innocence has been overturned, and because they were able to get executions of stay, they weren't killed, right? Which
in jail.
They're sitting in death row waiting, trying to fight their case.
No, it's been 4% that have actually died, that have actually been innocent.
Oh, they found out.
They found innocent after they died?
Yes.
Is that horrible?
Yeah, yes, because if we look at the actual history of things, especially during back in the day, there have been times where if you're an African American and you have been accused, because there was this one case where a guy was accused of touching a white woman like back in the day, and he was basically executed, but then later to find out from the woman herself that he did nothing to her.
Wow. We see that all sadly too often, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know.
Where someone can actually have some really bad evidence and some really doctrinated evidence just to convict somebody.
Right.
And to have them killed, then to later find out that said person was actually innocent and didn't do anything, and that the evidence was actually tainted and was actually not his actual evidence.
Right. Wow. That's what I'm saying. The numbers are tainted because you don't really know. I'm saying what I feel. This is just my feeling. I believe that there are a lot. I mean, I'm not saying that no Black people don't commit crimes, but I'm saying I do feel that there's a lot more that are innocent and have been executed in the past. And according to who are they guilty? And how are you saying they're guilty? So I think even looking up numbers, they're going to be skewed. But Lori, I was interested in hearing your opinion. You were going to say something when you were explaining it. You said, but I think.
Oh, Lord, girl. I'm a senior. I don't know. I don't know.
Man, I wanted to hear what you were going to say.
That's hilarious.
It'll come back.
I look at it. I'm not for, killing nobody. So I'm not really agreeing with that. But I look at anybody that's in prison, especially Black folk, for some heinous or non-heinous or whatever crime that they have done, there still is a root problem, and you can change, but there's something that has been brought down through history, through our bloodstream, through our bloodline from slavery, that if we are not economically able to compete, these things are going to happen, and they are going to put us in jail because they've been doing it all along. Nothing has changed. It's just now that they got to balance it out and put their own folks in prison, because other than that, they wouldn't be doing that. So them killing somebody, I'm not for killing nobody. They have to deal with that. There has to be a different kind of way. But if for us, it wouldn't even be, we wouldn't be so many in that situation if our status as a whole was changed. At least that's how I look at it.
So there is
You had something?
Go ahead.
there is a little green light at the end of this like dark tunnel, because since 1973 over 185 former death row prisoners have been exonerated. Basically, they actually have been released because they have been found innocent. About
My
90,
point. My point.
about 99 have been African American. About 67 have been white. 16 have been Latinx, and 21 have been of other race. And
Wow.
majority of those have been in Florida and is that Wisconsin?
Wisconsin?
No, I'm sorry, that's Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, right there in the middle.
Yep.
Wow. What are you thinking about that, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, Stephen, did you have a comment?
I just kind of want to say I do agree with Rashid. If you mess with children, if you prey on children, I don't wish death on anybody, but to mess with children, that's pretty tough. But at the same time, I kind of agree with Tanya with what she said. And just through this whole conversation, I was trying to think of somebody who I didn't think deserved to get the death penalty, but they did. And that was Tookie Williams. And Tookie Williams was the founder of Crips, but he may have done a lot of things prior, but he recovered, and he did a lot of positive things before they gave him the needle. And a person like that, I don't think they deserve to die. I think they should get another chance to redeem themselves in society and help the youth to not go down the route that he. Just think if that man was alive, how he could be able to help gang members not go down that path and continue. He could probably end gang violence because he started it, and that man was still put to death. And I think they should do a better job of reassessing those situations, but it's kind of hard. I'm very neutral on it because it just depends on the situation. But at the same time, I would never want to be a person that say that person is deserving of death, because people can make changes.
Well,
Man,
well,
they
not,
People
still got
can.
people. They still got people now today doing stuff to children that they ain't in prison. You hear some of
right.
these stars, the stuff that they saying and doing. They talking about kids, and we just like, oh, okay, like, well, what's happening? They are saying they are doing this stuff, this pedophilia and all this up in this Hollywood stuff and all that. Like John Legend's wife putting that on. Like, I was like, what is that? I'm not understanding what's going on. Like that doesn't make sense. So having a death penalty or somebody did something to a kid, it's happening in our face, and people not in jail. So it's like I'm not understanding that.
Well, because it's
What you
like
think?
it's like nowadays in society, if you do something to a child, you, you're basically put into a registrar and labeled a actual registered sex offender.
That's if you get caught.
Right. That's if you get caught. But even then, that would usually end up being not to the court of law. It would actually end up being to the actual court of the public opinion, where people would end up doing street justice. But then also for those individuals that do end up being in jail, you may not hear from them ever again, because if the inmates find out what you did, and if it involves children, you might not live through the night.
I know.
Yeah, we hear that, but I'm talking about them ones right now that's saying this stuff, like they putting it on Twitter and they saying it like they telling you what's happening. That's what I'm trying to.
I mean, if they're telling on themselves, justice will have to come around sooner or later. At least that's what we hope. But
So how y'all feel about R. Kelly?
Yay, fun time. Let's bust it down to the ground.
Oh,
You want to
boy.
start, Shelley?
Oh.
Even though I do think he the king of R&B, but
Let's do it.
Yeah, because that's when you have to actually separate the artist from the personal. Because you can still, have him as the king of R&B, but you can still say that he's a piece of crap.
Yeah, but it's your
You can't
money.
take that work or the work away. Go
It's
ahead.
your money when you buy those albums now. Or when he was out, I guess, I don't know, whatever. But it's your money that he is using to make sure that whatever's happening stays protected. That's what I struggle with, because I do like R. Kelly. And the girls on the panel know this. I will play his music. I love his music because I already bought it. Maybe that's my excuse. I don't know. But I'm not buying anything new. I can assure you of that. I won't.
I think we can all agree with that.
Won't be buying. If he put anything out, he can talk about being in jail, whatever. I don't care. I'm not gonna buy it. But
if Remind Me come on, you still bumping that, huh?
Yeah, I bought it.
You remind me of
I don't see nothing wrong.
Something like my car. Exactly.
It's like it's like, hold on, because have y'all seen the whole like 19, 20, 21 part, 25 part thing for like Trapped in the Closet? It's like he lived that life. He literally told on himself.
Yes, people. And we up here thinking we was just
thinking hindsight.
he's straight up for real, the Pied Piper,
Yeah.
He was hiding in plain sight. He was hiding in plain sight.
There you go. That's the thing. He was hiding in plain sight. Right?
I've been told y'all.
And it was funny. I saw Lisa Ray was on some YouTube interview thing, and I didn't know that she and R. Kelly were really good friends. Did you guys know that? Yeah, I didn't know that. And so she was saying how she doesn't support his actions, but that we need to separate R. Kelly, the artist, from R. Kelly, the person. And for me, I think they're intertwined.
I do too.
Because I think R. Kelly, the person, provided the inspiration for R. Kelly, the artist.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that becomes very difficult for me. I don't know if anyone else on the panel feels that, but I think a lot of the inspiration for the stuff that he writes, and I love R. Kelly too, play his music all the time, right? But I think a lot of that inspiration was through the life that he was living, as Stephen says, right in front of your eyes,
right,
eyes wide open. But we see what we want to see, right? How many times do we make excuses for his engagement with Aaliyah?
I know we did just kind of act like nothing.
I didn't act like anything happened, but sometimes I'm gonna tell you what I had a hard time with. I didn't know if it was true because it really was so undercover. Like you didn't until after her death did you see anything where they actually like paperwork where they are actually married. So I was struggling with whether any of it was true.
Yeah, well, I think that's where a lot of us were it's just a whole,
at that time, that's what I was struggling with. Is this really true or are they just gossiping? Just right. Like even with celebrity gossip, that's why we call it celebrity gossip, because some of it may be true or 90% of it's true or 80%. So I was struggling with, is that really true? Did he really marry her and she was just 15 or 16, whatever? I'm thinking along the lines of innocence. I'm thinking nobody would ever do that to a 15 or 16-year-old. Well, hell, I done found out different.
Yeah, we done found out way different.
Right, but then we also have to look at I'm not excusing his actions at all. Mm-hmm. But let's look back at his past. Let's look at what happened to him back in his past, because I think he was the actual an actual victim at one point back in of actual child molestation.
Yep.
By a female.
By a female in his family and a man that lived in their neighborhood. So Mr. Somebody, I forgot his name. Sorry, y'all.
Mr. Charlie.
Mr.
Not Charlie.
But they talked about him on the second documentary. His brother talked about this man, and so did his older brother and his little brother. So they all were talking about how this man in the neighborhood was molesting the boys and always, playing with the little boys. And R. Kelly and his brother was in an apartment with this man, and things happened. And the mother, and this is the part that I think R. Kelly has struggled with. The mother, when she found out, R. Kelly's mother, when she found out, she didn't press charges because Mr. Somebody bought her off. So R. Kelly's like, okay, this happened to me. And even his brother said this, this happened to us. Now you just gonna let this go because he bought you off? Like, really? You selling your sons? That's kind of like what they were feeling. So I'm thinking maybe R. Kelly felt that way. Because this was explained by his brothers, his actual younger brother and his older brother that was in jail.
Yeah, perhaps.
It sounds like this could be maybe learned behavior, and even the payoffs. You know what I mean?
It
The
was a
hush money.
psychological trauma, honestly.
Right.
Because that's what his mom did, right? She took the hush money.
Exactly.
So.
Actually, Tanya, you had something you wanted to say?
No, I was just saying earlier what you said, Lori, and this, this may cause controversy when I say this, but I think there's everybody that we deal with that we fuck with on different levels, right? So either you don't mess with the person at all, or you mess with them for certain things. So you were saying that the person, R. Kelly, and then the music are separate, but they're really the same, right? There's still that one individual, it's just different components of who he is. So like when I had my party, the lady Felicia, I don't mess with her on everyday stuff, but she can design very well. So I use her for design. And I think as people, that's how we do with people. Even with us on the chat, you may go to me for one thing, Shelly for other, Jackie for another, but that doesn't mean that you don't like all of us. It's just that's that talent that you pull from. So I'm okay with listening to his music and separating from that, because I think as individuals, we all have stuff. Some may be worse than others, but the Bible said no sin is greater than the others. I always ask Jesus about that. My little lie ain't like a pedophile, Lord, but he says ain't no sin greater than the other. Yep. So if we look at it that way, then, and take away judgment, we all have different sins that may be frowned upon by each one of us if we say based on our own moral code and standard, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, I can separate the music because ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind unless it's a child, but.
And in his case, it was.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not thinking as a child, that's what he's thinking, but I still like the music as an adult version of it, right? So I can still listen to his music and still say, but I don't think what he did was right.
Right.
It took me a long time to get there though, because when we first did the show, I dropped everything. I didn't want to listen. And then one day I was driving the car, his music came on and I was tapping and singing and humming and didn't even realize, wasn't even thinking about R. Kelly, the pedophile. I was just thinking about how good the music was sounding to me at that time.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, that, and from the start, I was listening to it, but what I had an issue with was, his personal life. And again, because now I know what the money does when we support him, I would think twice in buying his stuff.
Question for the panel. Do you guys remember, I think that I get the name right, Jeffrey Epstein?
Yep.
Do you remember that big scandal about the human trafficking and the sex slaves? And he had a whole island in the Caribbean where he would kidnap and take these girls. Do you see any parallels between the behavior between Jeffrey Epstein and R. Kelly?
The childhood behavior or just?
Behaviors in terms of trafficking these young women.
Yeah.
I don't know how he grew up. Was he molested too and all that?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying by taking, I think his biggest thing is he would, I don't know if he kidnapped them, but he would lure these women to this island, these young girls. And once they got to the island, he would not let them go. Right.
I think there's a difference. I think there's a difference with R. Kelly and Epstein. Epstein would not let them go. He held them captive. But R. Kelly was like, you can go if you want to. I just get another 14-year-old. I'm just saying. That's the difference.
True. Yeah.
Those girls chose to stay with him.
didn't they show in the documentary he trapped the wife or somebody in the room and
But
they couldn't come out,
yeah,
or
he told her, all of them.
other one at a hotel and
Yeah,
made
but
her
all of
look
them,
like
even
a
the wife,
guy.
they just did what he said, Lori, but they were free to leave at any time. He didn't keep them captive. Look, if you want to stay, this is what you got to do. You can't eat until I tell you to eat. You can't have no water until I tell you can have some water. You can't go to the bathroom if you want to stay. That's the kind of love I give. If you want to go, you can go, because there's women that were on the documentary that just walked out. They left.
But then there was that girl who her mom had to rescue her. You guys remember that? Her mom was trying to rescue her, and R. Kelly wouldn't give her wouldn't let her come out of the hotel alone, and the other girls were guarding her. I think there was some captive type of stuff happening there.
Yes, but remember, she walked off with her mom. She walked out. You can leave.
Again, it's just love, Laura. You know, well, what about the Stockholm syndrome? Does Stockholm syndrome apply to this situation? Shelley, Lori, Tanya, Chris?
I'll let others.
Well, I'm not sure, because was there physical abuse? I haven't heard that. I heard that there was sexual engagement, but I'm not quite sure if that engagement was physically abusive, where he, beat people in order to stay.
No, he was more humiliating. Like, for example, the girl, Dominique, he shaved her hair and made her look like a boy. That was because he couldn't break her in any other way, he found ways to break them. And so the girl that escaped with her mom, which is Dominique, he tried different ways to break her. And she was just like, no, I don't want to sing that, or no, I don't want to eat that. And so what he would do is say, okay, I'll fix you. Go in there and shave all your hair off. And she'd go in there and shave off.
Here's the question. Why does she go in there and shave her hair off?
Because
is there violence? There had to be some violence. Was there some violence involved, Shelley? Or is it just
I haven't heard violence?
It was a cult. I'm telling you, they did what he said. He was the Pied Piper, Lori.
Yeah, there was that involved. There was piss involved.
Well, here's something to put on the table. Is there money? Do they stay because of the money? Do they stay for the potential hope of fame?
Now that he did lure them in with that, he did tell them, many of them thought that they were going to have a recording contract. Many of them thought.
Yeah, but you know what? This also, hey Shelley, this also goes back to Stephen's poem. One of the girls had a mother and a father in the house. Remember that whole topic we had around there? And she still went over with R. Kelly and went against her mother and father. And he appeared to be an active father in the house, right?
Right.
So even with that guidance and all that, she still was missing something per se. On to R. Kelly in the midst of a man in the house.
Correct.
I mean, Pied Piper.
Emotional psychological abuse, something that he was giving her that she needed.
Right.
You know,
it started off.
He's like a sociopath, right? They know what you're missing.
Right. Well, it started off, you see singing videos, that girl that you're talking about, Azriel, there was time you could see where he was telling her, okay, go ahead and sing. She was singing, thinking she was going to sing with R. Kelly. She was going to get a contract, and turned out she never did. And then all of a sudden she was held captive, and then she was his girlfriend and sleeping with him and other women.
Right. How does that happen?
That's all, Shelley. Just that simple. Just boop, boop, boop in those categories.
Right. But
Stephen, what you thinking right now? Weigh in, please, on the Pied Piper.
You know what I think? I would never compare when you had asked about him and Epstein. I wouldn't compare him with him because I just would not compare a black and a white, no matter what the crime is. They started that. That ain't something that we originally started. That's a learned behavior that has come down the line, even though that's something that happened years ago that just ran through his family line. I don't have no, I mean, yeah, he wrong for what he did, you know, but like Tanya said, no judgment. But when I look deeper into it, all still is a root problem that his family line have dealt with that stuff, and it still stems from slavery because his mama did that, he did that, but that probably happened back in her mama's mama, her mama's mama, all the way back up into slavery, and it just came on down the line. But I would never compare them two. I would never compare a black crime against a white crime. So no way will I even if it looked the same, I'm still not gonna say, oh yeah, that's kind of like never. And for me, never.
Okay.
And
so
let's go.
right.
ahead.
And so if we were to actually, okay, let's just, for argument's sake, let's have them on the same plane. You got Jeffrey Epstein and you have R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Now the main difference they're both in somewhat Hollywood type of, in a little field, but except with Jeffrey Epstein, it's more or less on the political side because since he was a banker. Now, and then you have to look at Jeffrey Epstein's circle of friends, which included Bill Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump,
Mhm.
and then you had Queen Elizabeth's son,
That's
Prince
true.
Andrew.
That's
Like,
true.
think even associated with Harvey Weinstein, and we already know the whole situation with Harvey Weinstein.
Mhm.
But let me get back to the point. Now, with Jeffrey Epstein, you had him and his ex-girlfriend, that were in on the actual sex trafficking itself. And then when I guess he was supposed to testify back in 2019, he ended up dead in a jail cell because apparently he was going to speak, and people were like, you know what, it if he speaks, he's going to take at least like 15, 20, maybe 50 of us down with him.
Mm-hmm.
With R.
I
Kelly,
agree. I do agree.
it's just one individual compared to, oh wait, it's me and like 50 others.
Right.
And the difference, Lori, is Epstein if I understand it right, tell me if I got this wrong. Epstein kept them in captivity, but he was letting them do things with other people. The Pied Piper, he kept everybody for himself.
Well,
Greedy.
That's what you call in Jeffrey Epstein's situation. It's kind of like prostitution,
right? Yeah, the Pied Piper didn't
call
share.
girl prostitution. Yeah,
he didn't share. He wasn't sharing. He didn't like that
for him.
Nope.
He didn't even let them speak to other people. The Pied Piper didn't even let people speak to.
You can't even talk to each other. That's the crazy part.
Right.
They would have to text each other in the house.
Right.
Like, girl, this dude tripping. I don't even know, Shelly.
Does anybody know where
like, nigga, I ain't even ate in a week, nigga. You know what I mean?
You know me, I be on that phone.
Wait, what?
Okay, Jackie, you hit him over the head out with something.
No, you already know.
I just wondered if anybody knew the status of his case. Is it still waiting to go to trial? Is that where he is?
Okay, hold on.
We're going to get that local update for us. Here. Thank you, Rashid. Poetry shit. What's wrong, Stephen?
What's wrong, Stephen?
I don't know. Y'all cracking me up. Jackie, after you said what you said, I seen this YouTube video the other day with him and Gayle King, and he was like, they said I hog tied her. He said, I don't know how to hog tie nobody. Like that I don't know. That just popped in my head. Like they said this man hog tied her.
He's an actor. He's an actor. All that crying and jumping up and screaming and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's theater.
Yeah, he's putting on the show. He's trying to get that Denzel. You know what I'm saying?
You're killing me with this.
The part that really troubles me with the whole R. Kelly part thing is the alliances of the managers and the people who helped this whole thing continue. you
Thus,
know?
thus
And
the money. The money. That's what I'm saying. The money.
yeah, but where is the, isn't there something in the law like enabling a crime or something like that? I haven't heard any of these other people being brought up on any child trafficking charges, because how I see it,
They
based
weren't
on the
trafficked.
definition of trafficking children, that's what they were doing, right?
it-
Okay,
If
so
you
basically
purposely
guilty
go
by
out to a
association.
Is it like a
McDonald's,
conspiracy scenario? Like
Right.
well,
conspiracy,
no, if you
Lori?
go out to a McDonald's and I'm looking for children to take to a man who's a grown ass man, right? Don't I have some type of responsibility there for helping this crime happen?
That was my thought when that was happening. Like, well, wait a minute, he just said, what's going on?
Well, technically,
You know,
yes.
And
That,
I
that
don't
would
know.
be
And the
what it
question
is.
is that nobody cared
Aiding and
because
abiding.
these are black and brown. These are black and brown women, so nobody really cared. Do what you want to, right?
that's
Black
probably
girls
it
and
Use
right
black
them as
there.
women.
bait. Use them as,
Exactly.
All
it's
right.
okay to
That's
be a
what that
pedophile
is.
with black and brown children, but it's not
Yes.
okay when you are exploiting white people. And that's how I kind of see some of the
Yeah.
differentiation between the Epstein and the R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't know, Lori. Maybe
gonna
they
be
want to
handled.
convict him first and then start getting, I don't know. I've seen that happen where they convict the person of the crime first because he got away for so long with it. He didn't been to trial a couple of times.
So
Do you think they're
Yeah,
waiting it out? You think they're doing that waiting game again like they did
actually,
last
I
time?
got the
Rashid?
update on the R. Kelly.
All right, right here.
Okay,
So
what you got,
Poetry of
Rasheed?
Justice show.
So the singer had been scheduled to go on trial April 7th for racketeering charges, which alleged he ran a criminal enterprise designed to recruit women for sexual misconduct. But at a status hearing Tuesday, U.S. District Judge and Donnelly stated that holding such a trial is not realistic at all, considering the pandemic. She rescheduled the date for August 9th, a month before Kelly is scheduled to go on trial in Chicago, where he is charged with multiple sexual abuse counts. Kelly's being held at the Chicago Metropolitan Correction Center and is awaiting trial on numerous charges, including sexual misconduct charges and racketeering in 3 states, meaning the charges involve women who were minors at the time.
Wow. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our Facebook is hot. Thank you for that, Rashid.
hot.
Yeah, Mo Williams is stating to us that Jeffrey Epstein got away with it for so long and that Congress should inquire. He states that Jeffrey Epstein makes R. Kelly look like Mickey Mouse, ladies and gentlemen. So, what you was talking about, Chris, you can't even compare the two. Thanks, Mo. I mean, just saying. Come on. They knew that's why they had to put him under. That's why they had to kill the dude. Come on. And then just his murder. Everything was already in his cell. Everything. The extra blankets, the extra sheets, and you were on suicide watch. How did you get extra blankets and sheets?
Because all of them was going
Yes,
down.
sir.
Donald Trump was going down.
Clinton.
Was going down.
See, we
That's
didn't
some
create
crazy shit.
homeboy off in jail. That's before us.
And Tanya, say that again, sis.
I said, you know how we think, the homeboy goes into jail and if they did something wrong, somebody's gonna kill him off. That's that crime that's been happening in white America for a long time. He just happens to be somebody who was a big person that was going to indict other people. But you get surprised. You think you only hear about that like with the gangs, right, and stuff like that. But that's like its own little gang.
And they the ones who started the gangs anyway, so they know it. They know how to slither. All gangs didn't ever. He can say that other guy started the Crips, but you know what? That's a learned behavior. It's already been here. It's already been around.
Hear your point, Chris. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we've been having some amazing discussion,
I
Lori.
know.
Your
I think
face.
this is a great segue into our celebrity gossip since we're
What?
talking about the Kells. What do you got for us, Shelly? See the way of our celebrity gossip.
Girl, where do we start? Speaking of sex slaves and sex trafficking, let's talk about T.I. and Tiny and
What?
their third parties that are claiming that they were abused and mistreated in the bedroom when they were asked to come in with the couple.
They're being sex slaves.
Okay, well, I haven't heard this story, so start at the beginning.
Okay. So there are some accusations out there. We should say innocent until proven guilty. There are women out there. There's 2 so far that I've seen. There might be more that are claiming that there was abuse and misconduct going on when they were asked to come in to be the third party in the bedroom to the couple. That they abused them.
So is this from the video
That's
that he
alleged
did?
abuse, Shelley. Alleged.
The
Alleged,
video that he,
yes.
the video that he did, was that pertaining to that same situation
The video that who did?
that T.I. did? That is?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I was making sure he wasn't talking about R. Kelly. Okay. Yes. So anyway, that was his response. So that's what's alleged. And the thing right now, or the controversy right now, is the Family Hustle, I guess the TV show, that the reality show that they do. People are saying that the show should be canceled, or that the show should be suspended due to these allegations and until the matter is solved. But mind you, on this show, there's other people and other celebrities. Like, for example, Monica is on there. I know there's other celebrities on there. So that's a question for the panel. Do you think the show should be canceled due to these allegations?
So this is it, Shelley, for me. You know, my little mind is thinking. So the show should be canceled because they let another woman in their bed, or the show should be canceled because another woman got in their bed and now they're abused. Because if she had just gotten their bed without abuse, would the show be a cancel? What is, is it a marital thing? I mean, what is the moral, what's the push behind this?
I think the push behind it is that because these girls are claiming that they were abused, it's not just that we, and held captive. It's not like, oh, that we all had agreed on something and it happened. They're saying even though there was an agree on something happening, abuse began that the girls did not agree to.
They didn't know they was going into the red room. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Shelley, you remember that at that place we used to go to, Marla's? He didn't know it was going to the ass room, Shelley. You remember that?
They didn't know they was going with the beads and the whips and the chains and shit.
Oh, shit.
To the boom boom room. They didn't know they was going to the boom boom
room. They wasn't going to the boom boom room.
He was like, I know they in there. I know that's where they at.
The anal ease. Yeah, that type of stuff.
Some empty seats was in the house. I was like,
I don't know. I don't think they should. I don't watch the show, but to cancel it, what go on in a bedroom, how does that become like, oh, because you did, they say it's the abuse, but it's alleged abuse. They haven't been to court and all of that. I don't know.
Okay, but back to the R. Kelly thing. It's still alleged.
Alleged, it is alleged.
Yeah, it's still alleged.
So Steven's got something to say. What you got, Steven?
Adults, Shell. We're talking about adults alleged with adults and then alleged with minors. That's kind of different.
But it's still alleged.
Yeah.
Well, they finally got him.
Go ahead,
jail,
Steven.
but I can say maybe if they find, I don't know. What can they do? I don't know.
They're abused now because they might get some money.
Yeah.
If these were regular, ordinary people, they probably be like, man, I didn't sit well for me, but I ain't gonna be able to get nothing from them. So, oh well, proceed with life. But they dealing with T.I. and Tiny. Yeah, they got money. That's why they abused now.
See,
that's why celebrities need to be careful with what they doing, because people gonna come and get that paycheck if they can.
I agree with you, Steven.
The show shouldn't be canceled. They should just take their ass on a hiatus since they want to do extra stuff and let Monica and Lil Wayne's baby mama and them still get money. They go on a hiatus.
I agree with you guys, but there's also another side of it. A lot of people say that okay, same thing with Michael Jackson. It's because of the money. They wanted to extort money from him. He didn't really abuse those kids. But there's always something that I always revert back to. There are a lot of people that don't say anything when people abuse them that have money because they don't think they're going to be believed. So I have a hard time really saying either or, because I never want to say I don't believe a person. I never want to be caught saying that when I don't know what happened. So
I
yes,
agree.
they're more vulnerable because they have money, but there's also people that have been abused by people that have money, and they're scared because of that very same thing, that people are going to think they're after the money.
Right.
Right, and I think that
I-
goes like both ways, where it's like
Right.
if someone actually didn't do anything, but because they have money, you could say that they did something, and just make them a target in that aspect, and yet there will be those that actually do have the money and actually have done something,
Mm-hmm.
and then when people speak out, it's kind of like he didn't really do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the gray areas where
Mhm.
where I always say I always want everything, well, not exactly in writing, but at least have evidence, at least
Mhm.
have an actual paper trail to actually I'm gonna say okay, this is what happened, this is when it happened, here's the evidence of what
What
happened,
happened?
and so that way it's documented, it's right there.
Mm-hmm. There's no
And
mistaking.
right, there's no mistaking, and it's hard to actually disprove that. You can't say it's doctrinated, can't say that it's been altered or any of that bull.
Mm-hmm.
But it's right there. It's very hard to actually disprove that.
Yes. And the
I-
ones that are lying, something probably you don't want nothing to happen to anybody just because, but those that lie, they make it bad for the ones that something
Yes,
really has
that's the
happened
point
to
I was
them.
trying to make.
So
That's the point I was trying to
they should, if they lied about something, they should have to do something, some type of, don't make them write 1,000
Tom.
standards or something.
You know what, Chris? It seems like
2,000 standards or something,
It-
because that's not right, because they make it where the ones that really have had something happen to them, that they're gonna think, and they're gonna believe me because that person lied over there, so now I'm telling the truth, and that, yeah.
Yeah, but the sad thing about that is, I don't want to say sad, is that stuff been going on in Hollywood for a long time. And I don't know what T.I. and Tiny were doing, but they know the risk associated with their fame. And whatever it was, they didn't screen the process right. And I'm not condoning any of that, but when you're at that status, you got to know what you're messing with. And
Exactly, Tanya.
whether
Exactly.
it's consent that, we
Paperwork.
using screwdrivers or whatever we're going to be doing, whatever it is, that you have risk associated with your name and your pocketbook.
Exactly.
So
That's another thing.
fuck with Candy and Todd, because they both got some shit to lose. Fuck with people that don't got shit to lose.
Right.
I just think that it's really, first of all, it's really bad, because there are people that's their whole game, is to set you up and get your money.
Right. Yep. To set you up and get your money. Yes, definitely.
But
But he probably didn't see that coming, because they knew the person, or the person was so close to them that you wouldn't think that somebody close to you would just blurt out your bedroom business, regardless. So the
But
girl
sometimes, Chris, it go to the left.
Friends close, Amy's closer.
We thought we was gonna be doing this, and then it just went way too far.
Or when
And
some-
so now
that can happen
people
too.
got hurt feelings. They feeling some kind of
Yes.
way, and
Right.
now I'm going to take a different course of action.
Yep.
yeah.
Like I do want to say, like what Stephen was saying is I do agree, and I also think sometimes it has to do with how we feel about the person, which is scary, right? I mean, because I'll be honest with you, the girl that accused Mike Tyson, I was like, oh, he didn't do that. Why would you go to the bedroom at 1 o'clock? Of course, that's what they expected. Or Kobe Bryant, I didn't believe what happened. The girl claimed happened to her. I didn't think Kobe did it, but I don't know. I thought, like Tanya said, you have to be smarter. When you have a certain stature, you have to say, okay, this person might set me up. This person might be out to set me up. Let me rethink this. So, like,
You definitely run that
game.
risk. You definitely do.
Yeah.
You just never know.
With that being said,
Oh my goodness.
So much.
let's segue back into Dr. Dre and Nicole.
Oh,
Girl,
girl, what's
and
going on
Rashid
there?
got some information for us too, just in case y'all need some hotter off the presser. We got some.
Well, let Rashid go first. And we always end with Dre and Nicole anyway. So go ahead, Rashid.
We got some time though.
Okay.
Kim and Kanye in there too, a little Kim and Kanye.
Okay, you want to start there, Shelly? What do you want to
Yeah,
start?
I want to
Shelley?
hear about the Kardashians.
Oh yeah, they're filing for divorce.
Oh, she filed
Yep.
for divorce, and she said that she's going to do joint custody.
Ah.
But why is she divorcing him? Is it because of his manic episode and him running for president and the things he said about her and her family?
What they're saying
pull up
is his attitude being so sporadic.
He's
It
crazy.
being up and down, and some of the things that he said, especially the thing that he said about North, like he almost killed North, and you know,
I
He
mean,
almost killed North. How?
Is that what he said? That?
yeah,
yeah, he said
he
that.
said
What?
that. He
He's
almost
actually
killed
bipolar.
North.
Oh, God bless
And
him.
he said that, meaning that Kim was pregnant with her, and he wanted her to abort that pregnancy, and she said no. And so Kim's thing is, okay, my daughter is now going to grow up and see this on social media or film or whatever it's going to be at that time. But, you know, this could mess up my kid, you saying stuff like that, you know?
I knew he was manic. This is the thing, and I think Lori and I was talking about this other situation. When you engage with somebody that's bipolar and have mania, you have to become their support system. You have to make sure they take their meds. You have to know the signs. You have to know what's going on. You know, that is part of his package that she decided to marry. And so she knew he's mania. She knew that when, you know, because we know somebody that lives close to them, she knew that when they were building the house and her mama having him live outside in a tent wasn't a good thing to do. All that type of shit can make you snap. So I don't think that she was as supportive as a wife with a man with psychological disorders as she could have been. Not saying that he's not at fault, but mental disease brings a whole another aspect into a relationship.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, Tanya, it goes back to what my mama used to say. You knew what you was getting before you got it.
You know what you
You knew what you was getting before you got it. So there, you can't play dumb. You knew what you was getting before you got it. But since she decided to engage in that, I do know some people, for example, Tanya, when he does have these episodes, he's not taking his medication.
right. They all not.
So you're taking a chance that you're marrying somebody that if they go off this medication, they ain't gonna be right.
Exactly.
Shelly, what do we think about for better or for worse, for richer or for poor? Where does that lie here?
It don't lie.
That's to his part, right?
It don't
Well,
Ride or
lie.
die, right?
It goes back to what our mama said. You knew what you was getting before you got it. That's what it goes back to. If you knew what he was about, you knew he was crazy when he got up there and snatched that microphone out of Taylor Swift's hand. You knew he was crazy then.
I thought that was funny. I'm sorry. I thought that was funny.
Hey,
He was
when
crazy
the
then.
nigga said slavery was choice. Like,
There you go. That part, Steven.
And
yeah,
you
so
knew
like
all
that.
that he was doing all that stuff before, and talk about Beyonce is the best singer ever, and snatched that microphone out of that girl's hand. You knew back then, before you even had a baby by him, that he was crazy.
Wait a minute, Shelly, she had 2 more babies after that, which is another show, Lori, about how women can be and still be intimate and have kids and don't even like.
Daddy issues.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm going to add that to our topic list, guys.
Yeah. So you knew he was
I
crazy
have a
back then.
rebuttal to that.
What?
So my rebuttal is maybe I didn't really deeply understand how crazy you were
So
and
you
how much
chose to-
medication and support I was going to have to provide. Do
You-
I not have the right to say this is way too much? I cannot
sign
deal
up for
with
this.
your
You do.
regimen.
She was 32 when she married that man. She ain't no 18, 20-year-old.
No, even
what you
at
thinking?
32.
It took
You know, I
her,
didn't
it took her
know I
how
was
long
gonna
to figure
have
this
to-
out?
But
Yeah,
I know what you're
it's
saying,
like-
Lori. I know
I
what
don't
you're
want to
saying.
have to chase you every day to make you take your pills or tackle
Right.
you or
Right.
be
Or I
bugging
didn't
you
sign
all
up
the
for
time.
this.
I'm sick of that shit. Nigga, take your pill.
Yeah.
You know you need this pill, take it.
In other words, I didn't sign up for this shit. You told me you were going to
Exactly.
every day. Now I got to
Well,
chase
she
you.
signed up for that shit. She just didn't know that it was gonna end up this way.
Contract change on her. Contract
Well, I
that.
can tell you this. I would
I
be
don't
scared
know.
if you got to take a pill to act right. That means exit stage left.
I mean, it's the same thing that just happened with that USC football player. And we don't want to go into this, but she was dating him knowing that he had this issue because her first thing when she called the police and his dad was he hasn't been taking his meds.
Oh
So
no.
you know,
Yeah, she should have left though.
yeah, but
If
you
she
know,
know that you're not taking your meds and you are dangerous and you have beat me up before, I'm out.
But could it be also, you guys, again, even when you're dealing with somebody in a relationship with a mental illness and you know that they have to take medication in order to function, to me it's the same as, in my opinion, I could be wrong and I might get bashed for this, but in my opinion, that's the same as, just saying, okay, I'm gonna sign up for this and I'm gonna be able to deal with this and I'm gonna ignore the red flag. Like for example, when like people ignore red flags, okay? To me, that's a major red flag. And if you choose to ignore it at that time, you can say later, let's just be honest, you can say later, okay, I didn't sign up for this shit. I got to go.
yeah.
So I got a question though. Is it possible that that household probably made him a little bit more loony because every nigga that came out of that Kardashian house ain't been the same.
He
They ain't
got a
been the
point.
same.
And then now,
Like Snoop Dogg said,
now-
Travis Scott better watch out.
Yeah.
and Van Jones.
That was
You
my
feel me?
thought.
I mean,
That,
he had a man
that was
turn to
my
a
thought.
woman.
Was he, even though he has those issues now and how he acted, when did he start? Because I never even knew that he was on meds before he got with her.
Mom's
I
after
didn't even know he on meds before that, or
after his mom's death, I hear that he
After
got
his mom died, maybe his
okay.
he's had some big
After
issues.
that, that's when he started acting crazy.
Oh, okay.
Maybe his mom made him take his medication.
Maybe.
Mhm. Stevie Johnson says from our Zoom room, he says, true, but Kanye knew what he was getting into too.
That's the biggest part. What do
You
you
know what?
think
You
about all
always
this
have
shit?
the person who feels like that they won't fit into this rubric, right? So he saw what happened to everybody else, but he felt like in his mind he was different and can handle Kardashian. Those Kardashians demasculate men, and I mean they just have this tendency to demasculate, demoralize, and do all this to men, and it's always the Black men that they are attracted to, which is a whole nother story. But I think that they're a difficult group to deal with, because there's so many of them with the same mentality. So it's always one person against the majority, which makes it probably really difficult.
Similar to a cult.
He was a perfect Kanye has his issues, but
Jackie, did you say a cult?
I did say that. Similar to like a liking of, particularly when they go up to that little ranch, I'd be like, yikes, radio.
Hey, that Get Out movie is about the
David
Kardashians.
Kevorkian. Exactly.
I mean,
That
you
exactly.
turned
Get
a
Out
man
movie is
into
about
a
the
woman.
Kardashians.
For real, cousin.
That's
You turned a
funny,
man to
Stevie.
Caitlyn.
I know. I know. Come on. It's just.
You turned an Olympic athlete to Caitlyn.
Hey.
That's a wild game, man.
So Rashid, what is the hot gossip you got going?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Dr. Dre's
Uh-oh.
estranged wife, Nicole Young, demanding access to their marital home because she's pretty sure someone's been wearing her specific shoes and his name Goldilocks. Nicole Young just filed docs in their nasty divorce war, asking the court to allow her access to the Brentwood home where she used to live with Dre because she left a bunch of personal belongings there. In the docs, Nicole says she left back in April 2020 with a bare minimum of her stuff. Nicole claims she had to get out in a hurry because Dre was drunk and was yelling, "Fuck you, get the fuck out, go to Malibu." She left-
what a punishment!
I gotta pack my shit.
Like,
real
bye.
quick. I gotta pack my shit real quick. Okay, see ya.
So she left her tongue behind. According to Nicole, her loot included designer and vintage handbags, kosher clothing, and 20 fur coats in a cedar, and temperature control closet. BTW, she says her regular closet and boutique room at the home is around 1,000 square feet.
Shelly, her closet, nigga.
Since she's left,
Girl,
says she's observed and
her closet is half my house.
1,000 square feet. Okay, so hold on, let me continue.
It's almost as nice as my house. I mean, my house, yeah, half of my house. 2,100 square feet, yeah, 1,000. Damn.
Nah, it's 1,000 square feet. Jesus. Okay, so since she's left, Nicole says she's observed several different women posting photos and videos inside the house, and she claims some of the Dre's visitors might be wearing her stuff. For instance, Nicole claims one of Dre's playmates posted a photo in his bathroom while wearing what appears to be Chanel slides.
Oh,
See,
it was on and cracking. It was on and cracking. It was.
I hope she screenshot that.
She's also upset Dre throws big parties like one he had in October for the NBA playoffs because she thinks with all the drinking, it's just a matter of time before someone damages or takes her belonging. Oh, and one more thing, Nicole's worried Dre might pack up her remaining property and just send it to storage. She says that would be catastrophic for her first, which must remain in that temperature control closet.
All 1,000 square feet of that temperature controlled closet, so her chinchillas can breathe. People.
See, well, I'm gonna tell you what, I wouldn't have left until I got all my shit to go to Malibu. I took all my shit with me. Moving truck, come get my shit. No, and no. Somebody wearing my stuff? Oh no.
That's it. Hot off the press with Tanya Michelle. What are you thinking? It was some people. I talked about this the other night with someone, and then it was a male, and he said, "Well, shit, Dre bought it, so what?"
You know, I was getting ready to say that.
Right, Shelly, that part. But just hold on. Let's see what Tanya Michelle goes.
Hey, Michelle, wait a minute.
Oh my gosh!
I'm saying that's what Dre is probably thinking. I done bought the shit. Fuck you. I can let whoever wear it. Whoever. You know how Dre is with that. You know his mentality. That's next time, get your shit and go to the Malibu house while you're getting punished, okay? Shit.
I would have slept in that 1,000 square foot. I'm sleeping in my closet until my shit's gone.
In that temperature control closet.
I would make me a pallet on that floor in that 1,000 square foot closet.
Oh my God.
Shit is mine and when I get all my shit, that's when I'm leaving. I will sleep in my closet.
Oh my God. You guys are I will make me a pallet in my closet. I'm not lying.
I can't even make this up with you people.
I mean, Shelly, they're just things.
They're my things. Did you hear vintage? Did you hear vintage?
Vintage, Nick.
Vintage Chanel. No. 15 fur coats? Oh, hell no. I'm not leaving my shit. You can beat my ass if you want to. You can beat me whatever you want. I'm not leaving my shit.
Shelly,
like 20 fur coats.
You know what I'm saying?
Vintage handbags, kosher clothing.
Oh my God, man.
I'm calling the police. I'm calling the police.
Shelly, you'll be the woman on Tyler Perry's The Angry Black Woman, the one dragging you.
That's my shit. No, I'm calling the police. I'm calling.
Lord, she said she calling the police. Lord,
you're calling the police now, Shelly?
I'm not leaving my shit. I am not leaving my shit. No.
Shelly, especially when your budget about to be.
I'm not leaving my shit. You just have to beat my ass.
Did you hear what I said, Shelly?
Huh?
I said, especially if your budget about to be cut, you got to get all your shit.
Right. No, you just have to beat my ass. And then I call the police because you're not leaving my shit.
That's funny.
Oh my God. That's what Mika said, Shelly. Our cousin Mika said that she would have took all her shit from the jump.
Right. Keyword vintage. Keyword vintage. Don't let me see somebody on the camera in my shit. Oh no. Oh no. You just have to beat my ass.
It's not gonna be all right. Huh?
So who is these other women that's wearing her stuff?
That would not happen with me. Like I said, you
Apparently some concubines and some like party goers of some other
so
shit.
bad.
I don't
Lord
fucking know. Some random bitches.
I know. Who are these?
Wow.
Some randoms, you guys.
Well, the Zoom room is cracking up. They're just
I
laughing.
can't. My
Laughing,
cheeks
laughing.
hurt.
My head hurts.
My head hurts too, I swear to God.
I'm serious as a heart attack. No, no, and no.
Stephen just said, well, who are these women? Like, just where did they go?
That's what I was wondering. I'm like,
Who are they?
I mean, they just got access to his house like that?
Yeah, but I
But
do
you
want to
know,
interject and say, Shelly, did you guys watch the Michelet story? You know, surviving Compton, Dre, Michelet,
I
and
didn't
Suge
see
Knight.
that.
Now, in that film depiction, allegedly he was pulling that move back in the day when she was like gone away. He would just have a whole nother chick in the crib, just a whole nother bitch, just a whole nother.
I'm
new one.
okay with that, but she will not be in my shit.
In
I'm
your bed though, Shelly. You
Oh,
but we going on vacation and you come back. You know how we do our little excursions. We come back a whole nother new bitch in the bed.
Yeah, I would get my shit and go. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I'm just saying.
Getting piped down. Get that pipe, getting that pipe dream.
I'm just
Maybe he's a
saying.
Pied
You would
Piper.
go to your closet.
Maybe he's a Pied Piper.
Probably.
That is one night I would take a beat down. We just gonna have to beat my ass.
Let me see here.
All
Mika
of this
says,
is going on while this man is in ICU, man. That's sad, man.
That's crazy too, right?
That's sad, man.
Right.
okay, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a
That's
while.
when she
All right.
went and got her shit.
I want to say,
She
I
was
do.
in ICU. Oh my God.
Well, I think security would have stopped her from doing that.
Yeah, but that's why she needs her own security. Remember, Shelly? She's been talking about it. She needed her
Yeah,
own.
she needs her own security.
Right,
But-
right.
but-
Which is the
But
main
now,
reason.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. It's the main reason why she's also, it's now she's trying to get a court order to actually get her stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We
But
went,
Good luck with that one, huh?
yeah. Good luck.
Wow.
Dre was shooting when she was with her, and Dre was having probably doing some other stuff. What did she think he was gonna do when they were separated?
Sometimes you just
Well,
don't
that's
even
true.
try to leave because you already know, or you know. But I'm just going to go back to black on black crime. Can I, ladies and gentlemen? Mo Millions wrote to us in Facebook, and he says that black on black crime, meaning with white people, commit crimes against other white people at about the same rate that black people do against other black people. However, despite these numbers, people are not discussing the white on white crime problem. When a white person commits a crime against another white person, it's just called a crime. Race is not a factor in it. And that is intentional. Using language like black on black crime perpetuates the myth that inter-radical violence is specific to the black community. A myth implies that black people are inherently more violent. This tactic has been used to justify the mistreatment of black people since the assumed abolishment of slavery. And that's from Brother Mo Millions. Go ahead.
So
Carl.
this is gonna be my last topic. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just kind of jump on here before I get off. But one, I think black on black crime does not exist. They do that shit to make us look bad, to be honest. Most likely the people that you live around, those are the people that you're gonna commit crimes against. That's just facts. And then I kind of lost my thought here. You mentioned something else about uh oh well about black people being more violent. I heard an interview from Tupac Shakur, and he said just like white people want the criminals off the streets and out of the neighborhood, black people do too. But we don't have the funds to move away from the killers. We live in next door to the killers. Unlike white people, they have a place that they can go to away from the ghetto or from the lower impoverished areas and go back to where they live. We live next to the man that's known for killing people And so he said we have to be on guard. Like we have nowhere else to go because how society has been set up for us to live next to the killer. So I think all of that is just a way to make black people look bad. I don't believe on black crime, and I had to reassess myself because I used to preach that same stuff. Whenever a cop would kill a black person, I would say, well, we need to stop black on black crime. But then I heard somebody kind of speak on that, and it kind of changed my mindset. And most black people live by black people. Most white people live by white people. So that's who you're going to commit a crime against if that's what you choose to do. So I don't believe on black crime.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because we used to do injury prevention conferences when I was at St. Francis, and actually statistics shows that there's more white people that get killed by cops than black. And that's never advertised and that's never filmed. But if you look at them being the majority of the population, whenever there's more numbers, it's going to be more incidents happening to that population. So I just put up the statistics, and like in 2020, there was 172 whites killed by police and 88 blacks. And you go all the way back, that number has been doubled and tripled for whites than blacks, but it's not advertised the same way. I think because of the social economic disparities and the inequalities, I think they're mistreated differently. I think they're judged harder. I think there's a level of bias that's occurring, but all the data shows that whites are shot by police more than blacks. But that never comes out because, it's this part of, black behavior, maybe that, think about this study, Lori, black behavior that perpetuates.
Well, I think, yeah, I think it's the criminalization of the black man and of black people, right? So those numbers are lower, but the advertisement and the dissemination of that information is much more vast because they want to criminalize our race. They want people to be afraid of you. They want to provide justification for the stereotypes that have grown up throughout the history and the heritage of this country. Correct. So I agree with you, Stephen. There's not just necessarily black on black crime, right? But people want to advertise it that way because it incites fear, right?
Yeah, and brown on brown, just up there's black on black, but you don't hear. Yeah. You don't even hear the brown on brown crime talked about. I mean, when I was working at St. Francis in the trauma center, we would have more Latinos coming in than black sometimes, but that doesn't get advertised, like you said, Lori, like the black on black crime or black crime in the black community.
Right. Well, this I think is a good segment for our last 20 minutes together. Do you guys know how quickly that went? My goodness. We are just having some great discussions tonight, but I want to make sure that we have enough time for our tribute because I think making awareness about who we are as African-American people to kind of break down these stereotypes of the criminalization of us is important. And so I ask the panel to present one person that they wanted to share that they felt maybe this person isn't known or we don't know much about this person. And so we just want to take our little time to celebrate Black history by introducing particular figures. And Rashid's gonna, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Lori. Can I just say this one thing? Because I've heard this before about more whites being killed. I'm sorry to go back to this, but I think this
no, go ahead.
I've heard that before where there's more whites being killed by police than there are blacks. And that actually is something that President Trump claimed. But when I was reading, it says the president's answer ignores the basic demographics of the country over which it presides. As CBS News' Wesley Laurie noted in 2016, the most recent census data shows that there are more whites in the U.S. than there are black people. White Americans make up around 62% of the population, but 49% of those killed by police officers are black Americans. So of course, the number of whites being killed are going to be higher. This is what they're saying. Of course, it's going to be higher because there's more whites than there are blacks.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that number, what they're claiming it on CNN and also on NBC, is that that number is going to be skewed because there are more white Americans. So of course there are going to be more white Americans killed because there's more of them than there are black.
I mean, but we can apply that to the death penalty. Percentage is a percentage. So you can apply that to what we just said about the death penalty and everything else, but a percentage is a percentage. And it's always going to be a lot larger denominator at any point of what you're looking at, right? But I know what you're saying. That's why I was saying that the population is larger, so it's going to be more of them. But it's still, if you believe in statistics, a number is a number based on the same algorithm.
Wow, Lori G, it's been intense.
It has. It has. And
Yeah.
thank you to Stephen. He had to dip
Thank
off.
you,
He had some other
Stephen.
obligations,
God
but
bless you.
thank you for hanging out. So I think, ladies, what we'll do now is our little tribute and our last little 20 minutes together. And Rashid, can you pull up our first photo for us? All right. So whose person is this to introduce? Chris, I think
So,
this is you.
yes, that is. This is someone who I fairly just maybe, well, not this year, maybe towards the end of last year, since I've been in school, but also since I've been looking more at Black media. And his name is Dr. Claude Anderson. I chose him as the person for my Black history because he's still alive today, and he has done, as far as me reading his books, the things that he have done through the years. He currently has 5 books that are out, which I have gotten all of them, and I have started reading. Um, One is called A Black History Reader. There's Black Labor, White Wealth. He's all for Blacks coming together. He's been fighting for Blacks for over 20 something years, to get them out of out of our situation where the gap is so big economically. He has, in his book called Powernomics. I haven't started reading that one yet because I'm kind of going in the order that he has the books and reading. He has like a plan for Black America that, that the little bit that I did see, you know, it seems kind of like, yeah, that makes sense. He also helped Ice Cube when he wrote, when he wrote what he wrote for the new presidency and the old one to try to do something for Black Americans. Um, let's see, I kind of have one of his books here, and I just thought that all the stuff that he did through the years and what he's still doing as far as in court trying to fight for reparations for us, I thought that was, I never hear nobody talk about him. I've never seen nothing on him as far as in schools. It's just through the Black media. Although I have siblings that are older than me that I've never heard them speak about him. So I thought that, you know what, he's still alive. He's still fighting for us. So I'm for that cause, for being Black first and fighting for us to get somewhere economically. So I thought I would, bring him up. And what I did was I ordered, he has like his 5 series books for like $100. So what I did was I ordered a couple of sets, and I said, you know what, these are books that our kids that they're not even in schools. These books are not, that maybe they can read these now and learn about where we've been, where we came from. And he's the first person that I've actually heard explain racism. And I've always had that thought about race. What did race mean, you know, without the ism? And what did the word race mean? I was like, well, we're out here, when the kids are running track or something, a race. And literally that's what it was, it was a race. And I was thinking between like who? For the Blacks to not have nothing, but everybody else, the way he articulates, the way he says it, if you want to look up, he has videos out. Dr. Claude, you could look at powernomics.com or Dr. Claude Anderson and listen to some of his videos, and he tells it from day one, you know, the things that he's done, where he's going, where he's been, and what he's doing now, you know, even now today. So that's where, you know, I'm hopeful in where I'm going, you know, for this. So there's Dr. Claude Anderson.
All right. Thank you so much.
Ew,
Chris.
yes,
Dr.
awesome.
Claude
Thank you for that,
Anderson.
Chris. Bravo.
Very good. Rashid, you got another photo for us?
All righty, we've got another photograph here. LaTanya Michelle, are you with us, love?
I am. I don't see the photo.
I don't either. We still see Dr. Claude Anderson.
He wants to stay.
He wants to stay.
There we go.
Now he needs to stop sharing that image. So stop share. There we go. Now we see the next image.
All right.
Mary Mahoney, and she is the first African-American registered nurse. And so she started off as a private duty nurse in a New England's Women and Children's Hospital. And because of her services and care that she was providing, they offered her to be admitted into their full nursing program. So the Boston, the New England Hospital said, you know what, we see what you're doing and you provide good care for free to whoever this, I think she was caring for some rich person's son or daughter in the hospital because it was women and children. And so they saw her acts of service and they decided to admit her into the program. And she got into the program and she excelled. And she became the first Black woman to be a registered nurse. And from there, there's the American Nursing Association. She was a Black first nurse, be a part of the American Nurses Association. And then she was also inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. So when I learned about her, she paved the way for people to believe that we could actually be women and Black women could actually be in the medical field.
That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Tanya.
Awesome.
And
What's her
she's a
name
cutie
again?
pie too.
Mary Mahoney.
Pretty. She's pretty.
Mary Mahoney.
Mary Mahoney. Yeah.
Mary
Okay,
Mahoney.
Mary Mahoney.
First African American registered nurse, ladies and gentlemen, brought to us by LaTanya Michelle, ladies of the chat here on the POJ show. Chucky Jones says it's really awesome and cool, Tanya Michelle. So thank you, Chris.
Look,
Tanya.
Dr. Anderson's back.
Dr. Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson, he's not leaving us, Chris. You said that.
He's not leaving us.
There
So
we go.
this one here, guys, I wanted to bring to you is Ms. Claudette Colvin.
Okay.
And I was struck that I did not know when I hear about the bus movement, the segregated bus movement in Alabama, you always hear Rosa Parks, right?
Right.
Well, I found out through researching Claudette was actually the first person that refused to move on the bus and sparked the start of the civil rights movement. On March 2nd in 1955, she was arrested at the age of 15 because she refused to give up her seat to a white woman on a crowded bus. That this occurred 9 months before what we widely know with Rosa Parks and the NAACP. And so the interesting part is that she was a part of the court case that went to the Supreme Court to find bus segregation unconstitutional. But the reason the civil rights leaders made the decision not to publicize Claudette is because she was 15, unmarried, and she was pregnant. And so the leaders of the party felt that that would be too many things to minimize the importance of her issue. So Claudette is often lost in the civil rights movement, but definitely has her seat for the start of desegregating buses. So I was happy to read and meet Claudette.
Thank you so much, Lori G. And Chucky Jones from our Facebook world says that some said that no, she was the first. They said that she did not look the part.
Yeah, they did say that too. She didn't look the
Yeah.
part.
Isn't that something? I remember that. Stranger Things. All righty, guys. Now take a look at this pretty little lady right here. Okay, I'm being like super dramatic. But anyway, I can't do my Facebook and do this at the same time. So I'm just going to talk about it. This was my choice, ladies and gentlemen. And I chose this lady, Mary D. And Mary D was the first on air radio personality. Her real name is Mary Dudley, and she was widely considered throughout the United States. Back in Homestead, Pennsylvania, is where she started, and she studied at Howard University for 2 years. Mary D, let's see, let's go on to tell you a little bit about her career, is what I want to tell you guys. In 1948, when WHOD was founded she applied for the job at a radio station but was not hired. She approached the station manager who told her he would hire her on a trial basis if she could secure a sponsor. Able to get backing, Mary D went on the air August 1st, 1948. You guys know August is our birth month too, for our show. Anyway, her first broadcast was uh, announcing a calendar of events for Black women in the area. Within days, her time slot was extended to 15-minute segments called Moving Around with Mary D. And then she moved on to a 30-minute segment. The following spring, it was increased long show, and by her first anniversary with the network, the slot had extended to an hour and a half, then to 2 hours for her second anniversary. So, despite the modest reception range at 250 watts during the day, Mary D garnered a large following, receiving over 150 fan letters per day. Her fans crossed color lines, particularly with regard to her gospel music segment, and she received mail from Blacks and whites alike. But ladies and gentlemen, that was our choice for me. Mary D, the first Black radio broadcast woman in the U.S. Hey, Mary. You go,
Nice.
girl.
Hey, Mary. Okay. So this is me again, but it's on behalf of my youngest daughter, Morgan Fisher.
All right.
So Morgan and I were talking about who I was going to present, and she has such a strong passion for Marsha P. Johnson. And she's like, Mom, if you please could just talk about her on the show, I would so appreciate it. So I got introduced to Marsha last night, that she is celebrated today as a veteran of the Stonewall Inn protest and a pioneering transgender activist and a pivotal figure in the gay liberation movement. She committed her life to her hometown in New Jersey to promote gay rights. The term transgender wasn't widely used then, and Johnson referred to herself as gay, a transvestite, and a drag queen. She sported flowers in her hair and told people the P in her name stood for pay it no mind. And so the big impact that landed on Morgan and Marsha's story is that this idea of intersectionality, right? So not only is Marsha a person of color, she is also gay and she's also trans. And so how difficult it had to be at that period of time for her to come forward and fight for these liberties. So I wanted to introduce Marsha P. Johnson. And there's also a documentary special about her life and journey that's airing now on Hulu. So if you want to learn more about Marsha, you can check that out.
Thank you so much. Look at us. We've been informative tonight in addition to so many of our other things. I'm sorry, Lori, go ahead.
I think this is Miss Shelley.
It is. As you guys know, I'm a big music fan, and I'm a big Motown music fan. because we've done a segment on that. And of course, I've suggested that. But I always thought, so it, it pays to do your research. I always thought that Motown was the first Black label, but actually, Black Swan Records was the first Black label. And it was founded by Harry Herbert Pace, and that's his picture there. And it was founded in 1921. He borrowed $30,000 in capital to start his label. And of course, there were a lot of white labels that were trying to keep him from becoming popular. So he battled for a pretty long time, a little bit over 3 years to make his label prominent. And he had signed on a lot of Black and jazz and blues um, musicians, and he recorded for them. His office was located in Harlem, New York, and they did unfortunately go bankrupt in 1923. And then it was eventually bought by Columbia Records, and it did kind of survive a little bit in the 90s. Somebody revived it back in the 90s, but that is the history of the very first Black label. It had its first 3 releases in April of 1921.
Wow. Cool.
Shelley, thank you. We learned so much here tonight.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Cool. Well, thank
I know,
you for
right?
all introducing us to someone that we have not met before in our history and our heritage.
Wow.
So I
That was
really
beautiful.
appreciate that.
I know.
I think for our last few minutes that we have together, the theme this year for Black History, the Black family, right? And I'm just interested if we can kind of go around and each of us can give a quick comment on what we feel the direction of the Black family is going. You want to lead us off, Shelley?
Say that again. The what of the
We
Black?
just want to hear your ideas about the state of the Black family.
Oh, the state of the Black family. I think the state of the Black family, to be really honest with you, I think it's a little scary. I think that the way people used to stick past is no longer what they do in the present. Uh, the divorce rate is amongst the Black family. I don't know what it is against other races, but I do know that it's high. I think it's like 50%, 51% divorce rate. And I do know that our young people or our millennials do think a lot differently about marriage than per se we did, and per se what our grandmothers or our mothers and our fathers, the way they thought. So I think it's a really scary state at this time, because you have people that are willing to have children and not and be okay with not being married. And I
Mhm.
The
think
state of the Black. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shelley.
And I just think that it's really sad that no one thinks along those terms. Again, we heard Stephen talk about people having parent issues, and I just think it's nice if you can have both parents in the family. But if you can't, there's been some perfectly functioning people. But I think it would be good to think on the terms of, yes, I would like to have my spouse and my children under the same household. If you can't, you can't. But can't you start off thinking that way?
I agree with you, Shelley. We could at least, have the goals, right? And
Oh,
set them
yeah.
right.
And then that happened. Look at me. I'm divorced, but and my children have parents in different households. But at least the goal was for us to. That was our intention. Our intention was to be together and to have a family together. Some people now, they don't feel that having a family you don't have to be together to have a family together. If that
Mhm.
makes sense.
That is so true. Well, ladies, we've got about
1 minute.
1 minute.
Well,
Right, she says less than a
I
minute.
think we are we've come a long way, and yes, like she said, we have a lot of work to do, but I have hope And I know that we as Blacks are coming together because this pandemic, we are doing so much stuff. I've seen so many new Black businesses. I've seen, starting their own businesses, maybe not as a family because they want us all to stay away from each other because they know we come together, we powerful. So I just encourage everybody, we're doing it. We are doing it. Whether you have your business or not, look for it, invest, you know, stocks, look at them stocks, what's happening, um, land, property, you know, do what you have to do, but come together, do it with somebody, get a plan, family plan. You're probably already doing that, but hey, this is all new to me. But hey, I'm liking it, I'm loving it, I'm doing it, and loving all my people that look like me. I ain't got nothing against nobody else, but I had to love mine first because I took that thing you said, those 2 little tests, and I said, yep, I knew my head was somewhere else. Them tests you
I had to
said
take
take,
my
Lori.
test. I didn't get to take it.
Right. Those are the surveys that Tanya sent us to take about our implicit bias as it relates to race. And then there was another one for weapons. I didn't take the weapons one, but that will definitely be conversation for us in our next series, ladies, is that we can talk more about that. We have exhausted our time. Do you have a couple quick words, Tanya, for the Black family?
No, not really. I think what everybody else is saying is true. I mean, I just don't know because I think there's subsegments of each race, right, that may be doing something different than others. But as a whole, I do believe there's more unity needed, like Shelley was talking about. And I just don't see that. But I don't know the underlying reason for it either. And I think that's something more to dig into. Why is it that the Black family is the family that seems to not be able to come together next step in life or the next goal? It just seems like it's something that we don't do like other races.
Right.
So,
So another topic, lady, another topic has budded for us to begin to jump in and dig into. So, all right, Miss Jackie, I think we are done for the night.
That's it. And that's all, folks. We're been off Mr. Nash. So, zoom, we're out. I love you, ladies.
All
God bless.
right. Thank you
You
so
all,
much,
love
ladies.
you. See you
Have a
later.
great week.
Thank you, Rashid. God bless you,
you.
Rashid.
Rashid.
and Shelley, oh Shelley,
Oh, no. Wait. What'd you say?
Shelley, you gotta talk about Wendy